Do you suffer from stress, anxiety, or depression? Do you find it hard to focus or to contain your emotions? Any of these things can take you down. So, what then are your personal health practices? If you don't yet have an integral or holistic wellness practice, you're in the right place. Podcast host Susan Axelrod, the confidence coach, has been practicing holistic wellness for 25 years. Along the way, Qigong and Tai Chi found her. After tiptoeing in, she dove into a committed practice and became a teacher and integral wellness consultant. She'll tell you Qigong and Tai Chi changed her life. In this podcast, she interviews practitioners, inviting them to share their stories about how these practices changed their lives too. Go grab your journal. At the top of a clean page, write down, "I want to feel better." Then take a breath and tune in to see if Qigong and Tai Chi can help. Hello, friends. Welcome to this episode of How Qigong and Tai Chi Changed My Life. As I have had in the past, I have another wonderful guest. This guest is very special to me because she has been my teacher. So as part of this series, I am reading direct bios specifically so that you can learn about who practices these special modalities and also perhaps where you can find them. So Eizabeth Borge is a member of the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. She is a level 1 senior trainer and Tai Chi Easy practice leader. She has been practicing yoga and Tai Chi since she was 14. She is a 500 RYT yoga teacher and a newly certified yoga therapist as a C-IAYT. She teaches the traditional 24 and 13 Tai Chi Chuan forms. She also teaches Tai Chi Easy and Taijifit forms, including Taijifit, Fire Fusion, Iron Fusion, and Bamboo Fusion. Since 2016, Eizabeth has been leading Tai Chi and yoga classes in privates and corporate gyms, wellness centers, university, and in her own studio. She's a retired cancer researcher and assistant professor from University of Pennsylvania. She's a board certified health and wellness coach and is certified in nutrition, Pilates, and barre. She's currently studying to be an Ayurvedic wellness counselor and practitioner. She is an Usui, Karuna, Holy Fire Reiki Master Teacher. She loves to dance, perform, and study piano in her spare time. Hello, Eizabeth.
Hi. Hello.
You are a busy person, and I bet the old adage applies. If you want to get something done, ask a busy person, because look how much you've gotten done. I want to say thank you so much for being here today as a guest on this podcast. And I want to let our viewers and listeners know that you have been my teacher in my own certification training sessions with the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. And Eizabeth, I've told you personally, I'm telling you here, you're a wonderful teacher. And I'm so grateful to you for your time today, and especially for sharing the practice. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for having me in this podcast. And thank you so much for everything, allowing me the opportunity to share.
Yes. Well, let's get to it. Now that I read your bio and I see how long you've been doing this, I am curious, how has Qigong and or Tai Chi changed your life?
So about the time that I was retiring, I started to look at other things to do, other modalities. And I wanted to really get into figuring out how to increase the health and wellness in others. So I went down this path of being a personal trainer for a little bit, and I was studying the ballet. Actually, I'm still a personal trainer. And as I was going through my own journey, I recognized that people needed other things. The personal training was great, and I loved it because it was science-based, and I had been a scientist, and so I could study that. But people wanted more. They wanted more things that are more related to health and wellness. People wanted to learn how to breathe. People wanted to learn how to reduce stress. And it also turned out at that time I had been involved in a car accident in which my car had been totaled. Like someone just crashed in the back of my car when it was like standing still, and it caused a car collision, right? And so I needed to do other things as well. I mean, I wasn't able to be as mobile, and I still wanted to dance. And so around that time, I found out about Tai Chi. Another trainer had said, you should learn Tai Chi. You can like teach it to your clients and it would be good for you to learn this. And so I fell into it in a way. I mean, although I had done it when I was like 14 and that had been my first exposure, I wasn't ready for it back then. I was not patient enough. We would do the forms and I would be always finished in the form before other people, and everyone else was sort of enjoying it.
Yep.
And then much later, when it was sort of brought back into my life, I developed more of an appreciation for it. So at first I became a practice leader, and I'm not really sure I was quite ready for it then and what it offered. I was doing it, and we were told to have a daily practice, and I really wasn't doing that. But once I took level 1 Qigong in person, that just came into me,
Interesting.
At that point, I really loved it. And even before then, I had been hired as a Tai Chi instructor by a corporate facility. They were looking for a Tai Chi instructor, and they saw that I taught Tai Chi easy, and they actually hired me and gave me a job. So that's really how I got my foot in the door. And then it sort of just started evolving, because once I did the level 1 Qigong, I loved it. And I was doing it every day. And I felt all the changes in my body. I felt better. I enjoyed it. I was very attracted to it. And then I kept teaching what I knew. And it really helped me to develop a good, say, meditation practice, gentle movement. And it was really good for my back because I had a lot of back issues after the car accident. It helped me develop focus. And I used to suffer from blood pressure. I had white coat hypertension. And it taught me how to slow down and to listen to myself. Also, in doing all of that, you start to develop other habits, better habits. And so I even deepened my yoga practice while teaching Tai Chi. And then I developed a following, opened up a studio. And when I opened up my studio, it was really based around Tai Chi practices. Those were my first people that came to my studio. Mostly Tai Chi, some yoga. During the pandemic, because I opened my studio right before the pandemic, I had to take everything online, and my Tai Chi classes grew. People really wanted to have that group vibe of doing Tai Chi together and sharing, and it became really a kind of a close-knit group where we could support each other. And as I began to find my own self in Tai Chi, I would tell stories and really have developed longer lasting relationships with the students that when I started in 2019. And it just kind of grew from there. I'd gotten more teaching opportunities. I keep deepening in my training and my own studies, reading, learning about Chinese medicine, learning different forms, because I wanted to bring more to my students. When you teach, you want to bring more to your students. And so you end up studying more, reading more, learning more. And I think now I can 100% say it's a very integral part of my life. I do Tai Chi every day, and I do the practices of Qigong and Tai Chi, and I love teaching it. And some days I'm teaching 2 classes a day. I have my own personal practice, and my own personal practice does include reading and studying and learning more about Chinese philosophy. So it's and even my approach, I mean, as a retired cancer researcher, people are attracted. So I do have a lot of cancer survivors that come to my studio, people that want to work on balance. Doctors refer people to my studio because I don't know how many Tai Chi or Qigong practitioners there are, but I'm on the tongue of a lot of people. And I'm just getting more opportunities to do more in the city.
So wait, can you remind us, I don't think I said it, where are you located in case anybody's near you?
Right.
Where are you?
So I'm actually in Philadelphia. I am in the
Philadelphia
northeastern part of Philadelphia, and I do teach in Philadelphia. I have a studio that is located in Jenkintown, which is a little suburb right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay, so great. That's a big metropolitan city area. So we're gonna, introduce you to more people. Excellent. Okay, so doctors are referring to you, and you're having. I want to take a pause for a moment here, and I want to speak directly to our viewers and listeners. I want to invite you to come to awareness. My style is I write, I listen, and I'm writing, and I'm listening to your story. And the evolution of it is quite interesting. You had already been introduced. You got in this bad car accident, et cetera, and so on. You started in Tai Chi, and I want us to talk about Qigong and alignment and Qi energy separate from the Tai Chi, or that underlies the Tai Chi movement. But before that, I want to invite people to literally go back, play that story of this one practitioner's progression. There was a lot of really good stuff in there. And Eizabeth, one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast series is to invite people who might be suffering, struggling, in difficulty, have stress, or are distressed, or stuckness, or whatever. And all of what you said addresses that. So I want to thank you for that. So let's talk for a moment. By the way, is that your little friend in the background?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
No problem. No worries. I'm a dog person. I happen to mine's older now, so he doesn't do that. It's no problem for me. I like everything about dog energy. So I just want to really also make reference to the fact that doctors, you just told us, doctors are referring people to your practice. So people of science, like you also referred to yourself, are now referring people to your practice as a supplement. Is that to their treatment program, or what?
And so there are doctors that realize that when you move more, it's better for you, and they want to keep people moving. And they're also starting to see the benefits of doing gentle movement versus this more aggressive aerobics, have like extreme strength training that a lot of times people sort of engage in. They want to reach populations that are maybe a little older, people that might potentially fall, and break bones. Tai Chi, there's like balance in Tai Chi. And there's this whole thing where you're activating your mind, right? And you're learning new forms. And so you're making new connections, and this whole idea of resilience. So as I talk to different practitioners that I even go to, like my GP or my eye doctor, they're like, just getting people to move is huge. And so they're very interested in my classes, very interested in what I'm doing. And then other people that I just see, they're, whether it's my chiropractor, they're all very interested in Tai Chi and understanding that this is a gentle practice that everyone can do. It has benefits that everyone can kind of feel and see. And also this whole idea of meditation. People want to do meditation, but a lot of people aren't able to sit and meditate. But if you give them gentle movement, then they're more likely to get into that state, that flow state.
Completely. My guest earlier talked about that as well. I could show you her notes where she said, I couldn't meditate. I couldn't be still and be quiet. And so we talked about that. I want to say that you shared with us that you were introduced to Tai Chi early, then you did it again, then you did it again. You even got hired. But you said something like, I wasn't exactly into it. So you referenced level 1. Are we talking about the
level 1 Qigong? So for me, I really didn't develop a practice, like a daily practice, until I did level 1 Qigong. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, that really hit me. I was doing the Tai Chi easy. I was teaching it, and I was teaching it to my classes. And actually, sometimes people would say, is there more than this? There's these 5 forms. We want to do more, right?
So let me, excuse me for interrupting. I want to give a nod to the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi under the leadership of Dr. Roger Yanka, which is how I met Eizabeth. And the level 1 she's referring to, I also took the level 1 certification training. That's what we're referring to here. Strongly encourage you to look it up. And personally, since I did it, I can say to you, I get it. There was magic in learning it that way. So I wanted to just let our people listening to us know what we were referring to.
Yes. And I also think that when I first learned Tai Chi, it was a traditional form. So what I had learned, I could never actually find. I wanted to learn more about it and do this again when I was older, but I could just never find it anywhere. And when I was introduced to the Tai Chi Easy, it was like I was reopening that and understanding that again. But as I deepened in it, my commitment to it got greater. And as far as like Chi and life force, I think that, I'd have students would have experiences with stress. I remember teaching the Tai Chi walking to someone and they were like, I love it. Every time I get aggravated in life, I just do the Tai Chi walking. Yes. And she was really excited about the Tai Chi walking. She probably came to 2 or more of my classes. She was like, the Tai Chi walking cures everything in life. And then I never saw her again. And I was like, okay. But it just brought so much calm to her own mind.
I mean, you said, this is so good. You said, it became an integral part of my life. And you said, the more you did it and the more you teach, when you teach more, you want to bring more to your students. And I wrote down, I started deepening in my own trainings. So for people who will be listening or watching this podcast series, they may not really understand. Let's just take a moment to have you explain, what do you mean by deepening in my own, work and training, if that's okay.
So it's so you might learn the forms at first. And so you have to make a daily practice for yourself to apply either Tai Chi or the Qigong or the breath work. It has to be something that you're willing to set aside for yourself to really maybe check in with your alignment. So deepening for me also included doing more reading, like reading the Tao Te Ching and reading it by different authors. And then looking at maybe different forms and exploring them and just educating. I mean, I have a whole lot of books over here that are dedicated to Tai Chi and Qigong. So that was part of the deepening. And then learning from different people, learning other forms, just taking another Tai Chi class by another instructor. Because people bring different things and they'll highlight different things. People will tell different stories when they're doing Tai Chi, and they'll explore for you or help you explore how you can grow in your Tai Chi practice. How you might set an intention in the beginning, or maybe there's some energy you want to get rid of or some positivity you want to bring in. Perhaps you are focused on balance, right? So it's like, so deepening for me was following my own natural creativity, almost in a way. If I had a question about something, researching it and understanding it. But the more you practice, sometimes you can almost naturally deepen, because you'll see that every single time you practice, there is something different you can focus on. You can focus on your breath. You can focus on bringing in positive energy. You can focus on the form. You can focus on feeling this energy. You can observe how you feel on different days. You can make yourself more grounded or lighter. I mean, it really depends on where you're coming from. So in the beginning, it might start off, I was like, you're doing a practice and you're just doing what you think you should do and the steps that you think you should do.
Right.
Then it starts to grow. Like you might feel like, oh, I need to wave hands like clouds to just get away.
I love that part too, where the names of the forms might inform what you choose to do, placing the sun and the moon. I mean, come on, Eizabeth, we had a full moon the other night. I am not kidding. I'm walking my dog. I look up and I wrap my hands around the moon and I place, it was really so good. This is, I want to let people know that I'm listening to you, and I want to say your voice cadence is so great, and I've taken just enough classes through the certifications with the IIQTC, with you attending practice sessions and such, that I feel like I'm in a class with you. I strongly urge and encourage. I have cousins who live in the area. I'll be letting them know. And I strongly urge and encourage people to look you up, find what you're doing online, and surely attend in person. We have just about another minute. Do you want to give us your website, or what links can we, because I'll put them in the show notes as well.
Sure. It's fitforlifejenkintown.com. That's one word. And I mean, I have I don't know, do you provide cell numbers?
No, I'm actually, I'll let you, when I post this, okay. I'll get from you what you want me to post in the show notes. So when they see the episode, they'll be able to contact you in the way that you want. I want to say thank you so much for taking your time. It wasn't lost on me that you were a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biophysics at University of Pennsylvania. And you came right out of the box and said, when I was retiring, and I would say when I was done with my first career. And then this is clearly your second career. And I, for one, I'm glad. I want to invite people to get a pen and pad, just like I said in the introduction, and replay this discussion and see what shows itself to you, and see how you might be inspired to get on your own journey to integral wellness. I'm sorry I'm going over. I just want to say one more thing. You said it right in the beginning. When you retired, you said, I wanted to increase health and wellness in others. And that's the whole game with Qigong and Tai Chi. Eizabeth, thank you so much. I am already looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. I'll see you soon.